In this video, we're going to explore the effects that we can have on a split squat by looking at the mobility in our foot and ankle. Now, a split squat is taking a lot of areas into consideration as we're lowering down to the ground and coming back up, and this is only addressing one area in isolation. We can also address split squats by looking at what's happening in the rib cage, what's happening in the pelvis, the knee and tibia position, and so on and so forth. But again, for this video, we're just going to look at the foot in general and seeing if we can get it to change its shape as we go down and as we come back up. So let's go ahead and check out your split squat with me and see what happens. So as I'm here, I'm going to have my right foot forward, my left foot back, hips are square to the front and nice and level. And then I'm going to lower straight down to the ground and straight back up. So as I'm lowering down, we're thinking about this representing a spring that is compressing straight down to the ground and having an equal distribution of load and lengthening through our entire lower body. And then as we come back up, it's an expansion back out of the ground and a push out and away. So as I'm going to do this, it should be this elevator type movement up straight down and then straight back up. That is representing all those mechanics happening well. Now, if one area isn't moving quite as well, such as the foot in this instance, we might get creative and do some other things. And this can affect what we're feeling in a split squat. So as I'm coming down, maybe I have the tendency to never let my knee come forward and come back up. Maybe I let my knee come forward, but my heel lifts up, and that lift of your heel might be just a minuscule amount, but it could result in more stress and strain in the front of your knee. Maybe as I lower down, I thrust my ribs forward or go into more of a hinge instead of being able to maintain the same angle of my torso, whatever it might be to start with, as I go down and as I come up. So let's take a look at what is happening in the foot and do a little test retest. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take a ball and we're going to put it underneath the base of our foot here. So this is our met heads here where our toes join our foot. And the idea of the ball is that we're going to help that foot be able to change shape. So in order to lower down to the ground, we need that arch to be able to lengthen. We need the back of the Achilles here to be able to lengthen, to be able to maintain 3 points of contact of your heel, your base of your pinky toe, and the base of your big toe throughout the movement. Without that change of shape, we'll have the tendency to teeter forward and backwards or side to side instead of that compression down and then coming back up. So as we're going here, I'm going to put that ball underneath the met heads, and you can experiment a little bit with kind of going like more at toes 2 through 3 or kind of like 3, 4, 5 and kind of feel where it feels more restricted. As best I can, I'm going to have my toes stay nice and relaxed throughout the movement and my knee stays soft and kind of over my midfoot throughout the movement. Now I'm slowly going to lift my heel up, not letting the ball roll, and I'm really visualizing that my calf and Achilles is lifting that heel up, okay? Now I'm going to slowly drive that heel down towards the ground. When you're using a firmer ball like a lacrosse ball here, you might not be able to get that heel down, and that's totally okay. The important thing there is to make sure you don't try to get that heel down by just having your knee lock out back and behind you. That's going to lengthen more of your gastroc here, back and behind your knee, versus mobilizing the foot and ankle. So I'm going to go down as best I can, keeping those toes relaxed. And then I'm going to slowly lift that heel back up and then slowly lowering it back down. I can feel as I lower down that the ball is pushing up through that midfoot and helping my foot spread and splay. I'm opening up that transverse arch and then coming back up. Another thing to take into consideration as you're doing this is checking out from behind and seeing what's going on. So if I have some restriction back here, as I go to lower down, I might have the tendency to roll in. And now that is, again, affecting the distribution of load through your foot and ankle. So we want to make sure that as best we can, that heel stays vertical when you're both coming up and going down, and making sure that those toes aren't clawing to isolate that movement into your calf as best as you can. Now, after doing that 5 or 8 times, you might even notice already, as you go to stand here, ooh, that right foot feels more grounded. I can maybe even balance on it more easily than I could beforehand. But then let's take it into that split squat and see what happens. So again, right foot forward, left foot back, hips are level, and then I'm going to lower slowly straight down and then back up. Do things feel more balanced? Do you feel your hips opening up anymore? Do you feel less strain in your knee? You may or may not. But again, sometimes it can be a little subtle something like that that can help unlock the rest of the kinetic chain and help how you interact with the ground for not only these movements, but other lower body movements, where then we can address further up in the chain of what is happening in the hips and pelvis that can further help out your split squat.